What is up, guys? Ken Knuckles here with another podcast. I'm joined again today by Energy HQ. How you doing, Energy?
Well, I guess I'm doing all right today.
You doing all right?
Just, yeah, just all
Good to
right.
hear. Just all right. So today we're filming this on Wednesday, September 27th, and yesterday,
World
Tuesday.
didn't end.
Yeah, the
The
world didn't end.
Bible,
That's a
the
good thing.
Bible predicted the world was gonna end.
Oh,
We're all alive
I didn't know it
still.
was in the Bible. Uh, as I was saying yesterday,
It was
Uber.
true fact.
Uber announced that it will be leaving the province. Quebec is my home province, so I find it sucks to see this service go. Energy, what do you think about it?
I mean, I don't have that much of an opinion on it, that too much, because I don't live in a town with Uber, so I think Uber's kind of fucking useless.
You don't have
Drive
Uber?
yourself. Fuck that, dude. We don't need no damn Uber. We drive ourselves everywhere.
All right. So like,
Yeah.
I've
Live in a
used.
small town.
I don't use Uber quite often, but I prefer it way over taxis. Before Uber
Really?
came along, I found personally that taxis were overcharged a lot, and so it was just a pain in the ass if you wanted to go somewhere and like you couldn't really. It was, I don't know, for whatever reason you couldn't get a lift, or uh, a
See,
bus wasn't an option. Like getting a lift to the airport, it's minimum 40. It's so on Yonge, Montreal, they have a deal that to go to airport, no matter where you are, if they get picked up in Yonge, Montreal, it's $40. So that could really work in your favor if you have a really long taxi ride from the east side of the island all the way down to Dorval. But if you live in Dorval, where the airport is, which is it's like a suburb of Montreal, and it's like a 5-minute drive, you're still paying $40 because you can only get there by road. You can't get there on foot to the airport, really. So if that's your only option, you're paying fucking out the wazoo for a 5-minute fucking taxi ride. That's why I like Uber, because you know it's cheap in that situation. It's gonna cost you only $5-10. I used to go home. Sometimes when I'd come home from a bar after a night with some friends. You know, an Uber would cost me about $10 to $11. Taxi would cost me about between $15 and $20 easily.
dang.
And you know what? Taxi drivers a lot of times here, uh, they don't know where they're going half the time. You tell them a street, they're like, "Where's that?" And then you tell them, "Oh, it's in blank. It's on Street X, in the city of blank," and they're like, "We don't know the city of blank. We never heard of it before." I'm like, "You are in the city of blank right now." So it's like I'll tell them to be.
See, that whole concept of like having Ubers and shit like that, it just blows my mind. It doesn't even make sense to me. Why would you just not drive yourself?
It's good. Like
It-
for me, like I said, I used it. I have my driver's license, but I used it when I would come. You know, if I was out at the bar, and then it's really helpful to have.
Oh, dude, if you're from America, dude, you're a man. You fucking drive home, dude.
If you're fucking smashed.
Don't get too smashed. Is smashed. Men around here.
I don't know. For me, this made more sense. I liked Uber. Also, the Uber driver knew where they were going. I've had taxi drivers too, where they
Yeah.
get lost on. You know, I tell them to go to like a fairly well-known road. You know, like, and it's not fucking hard to find,
We
and
should
they
all
would
be
get lost.
using.
Like I think they purposely get lost sometimes too, just so they could charge you more, or or they'll go like you'll tell them to go, you know, you're supposed to go west somewhere, and they'll go fucking east. They'll start driving east, and you're like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going this way instead. I'm like, yeah, but that way it's like 10 minutes longer. Oh, whatever, it's faster. They're, you know, that's what they'll tell me, even though I know it's gonna cost me more money because of them now.
Right.
So
Yeah, I've never had to take taxis or nothing like that.
Really?
No, dude, I don't live in a big city like that. I can see how they are useful, but not something I can relate to yet in my life.
I mean, what is nice about it too is a taxi, a taxi Uber, they say, well, if Uber says, Uber says, we'll be with you, we'll have an Uber driver, like you choose your Uber driver, you're like, oh, yeah, we'll be there in about, I don't know, 6 to 7 minutes. You call a taxi driver, oh, we'll be there in 15 minutes. What the fuck? I wasn't even hit by a rocket there. They'll say, they'll say, oh yeah, we'll be there in 15 minutes, and they show up 45 minutes later. Or an hour later, or an hour and a half later. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, it's gotten to the point where, like, Uber just wasn't a good option. Or, sorry, not Uber. The taxis weren't a good option. Uber was a better option. It was cheaper, more reliable. Taxis, sometimes they won't come out and get you. And, like, here, it's illegal to refuse to take you somewhere, but taxi drivers would still say, no, I don't want to take you there. If they didn't like that neighborhood for whatever reason, they're like, nah, fuck you.
Hey man, it's a hard life being a taxi driver.
But also, I think the last straw. So the reason Uber supposedly left was the regulations that, the regulations that the Quebec government was trying to put into Uber. Say, they told them they wanted to do police background checks. Uber's always done private background checks through the country. And they're a lot faster. Police background checks in Quebec could take up to 6 months. Usually it's between 6 weeks and 6 months. And, majority of the time it's not 6 weeks. It's always that 6 months. So it's really long time wait. And then, for their training, they wanted them to do 30 hours. They don't really have to do training anywhere else.
No, you don't have to do training.
Uber drivers.
Anywhere.
I mean, yeah, you do have to do some training.
All you have to do
Uber,
is just sign up for the fucking app and get the damn sticker.
I know, but they want you. But then they want them. They basically want Uber drivers to pay the fees that taxi drivers pay, because taxi drivers pay like a crazy amount. Like when they start off to become a taxi driver, I think you have to do 3 months of training, and then every year you have to take 2 off of work to do to do refresher courses. So it doesn't matter if you've been there for 1 or 2 years or 30 years as a taxi driver. Every 2 days off to do a refresher course. Pay to do it. It's not like it's paid for by the government or anything. It comes out of your own pocket, and usually it's a few $100s. And it's not. God. It's really expensive becoming a taxi driver. So I don't know why a lot of people do it. Uber is a cheaper alternative because it's not as expensive to become.
Taxi drivers are becoming obsolete, honestly. The things that I've been reading, seeing like that, like from New York City and shit like that.
Well, it's because like they're expensive as hell.
I think in New York City, won't. I think they won't become obsolete, but I think smaller towns they will.
Like if there's no need for them, why have the business there, right? Again, New York City, I doubt they would ever really get rid of it.
They'll ever get rid of them. Yeah, I don't think they'll ever.
Because there's always going to be there's always going to be someone who's going to need a taxi. Yeah.
Yeah, there's too many people.
Smaller cities, I could see.
Philadelphia, they'll never get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's like that.
And you know what? It's interesting for Uber because this is the first time I've heard Uber actually deciding to leave a place. They're leaving October as of October 15th. They have been banned in other places though. Like the city of London actually over the weekend banned Uber. so you cannot have an Uber.
Shit.
But London taxi drivers, it's a bit. I think for them it's a bit more cultural and heritage because London does have some very famous taxis. You know, they're not as iconic as the New York City ones, but still they're pretty iconic drivers. They have to learn the entire. They have to know every single street in within London, and there's literally thousands of streets in London. So yeah,
Don't
like
they have the double-decker buses in London?
yeah, they have those too. But you know, if your taxi driver has to know if you name a on a street, they have to know exactly where that is. Because I don't think last time I checked, they don't have GPSs in their car at all. So they just know where it is.
Why? That's dumb.
It's
like
just well, it's the
this
way they
thing
did it for such a
is
long
so
time,
good.
right? Because in the 50s they didn't
true.
have one.
Yeah. It's like now we do. So
Yeah, I think that's another.
like
You know, and so they kicked them out. And there's a few other places. I can't remember exactly where else Uber is banned off the top of my head. I think China. They're not in China anymore. Actually, I think they might have left out of China. I think that might be another place they left. I'm not 100% sure about. But it's you know, it's I consider it controversial that they're leaving. I think also because drivers, because a lot of people decided to start taking Uber once it came around because it was a better alternative to taxis. Taxi drivers kind of flipped their lid and got really pissed and started protesting, and no one really cared that they protested. Honestly, I didn't. I guess the Quebec government did enough because they wanted to put these new regulations in for Uber, and Uber said no. Uber was trying to negotiate a deal with them too, so it's not like Uber was like, oh, you have rules in this province, goodbye. Wanted originally to do Uber just said, well, we want to do our own background checks. They do them thorough. From what I understand, is they do them pretty thoroughly anyways, just the same as the police background checks. And they want to do 20 hours of training instead of 30 or 35. So the demands weren't preposterous. I think I could definitely see both sides having their own arguments for it though, but at the same times, I think it's hard a certain industry when you have a new one coming in, or so you know the and they kind of have to regulate them, and it's kind of hard to regulate a new industry and keep both sides happy, you know.
yeah, right. Make sure everybody gets a fair cut.
Personally, I liked Uber. I'm sad to see it go, honestly, too. I think it could. I wish, you know, they could have cut a deal with the Quebec government. I'm not sure if they're maybe going to use this as a scare tactic more and say, you know what, we're actually going to stay. But October 14th is the date where they're supposed to leave. So it's not like they're announcing it in a year or something. So that also puts a lot of Uber drivers in Quebec out of business, out of a job. Maybe not a full-time job, but like, you know, as an extra cash flow of money. So I find.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All these Uber drivers, all of a sudden, they don't have cash coming in. You know, they might not make enough to live off of, but you know, it could help maybe pay the gas, pay some extra bills, you know, that stuff. And sometimes they do need it.
Yeah.
I
mean, there's people that do it like all day though that make it their life.
Oh yeah, I think it depends where you live too, because from what I understand, I talked to an Uber driver once, and he had told me the way it works, how to get paid is for every minute that you're in the car with them, they get paid 15 cents. It's charged 15 cents. You get charged 15 cents. And then for every kilometer they drive, they get paid 85 cents. So, I'm what it is in the States as much. That's where it is here. So for them, it's actually more efficient to drive in the suburbs than in the city. Because say you're driving 10 minutes in the city on a backed up street, you know, and just, you're not going to get as much if you drive. You know, you only drive like I say a kilometer in 10 minutes because of the traffic.
In the suburbs, yeah.
But if you're driving in the suburbs or on the highway, you're, you know, in 10 minutes you're going to drive a lot more than you are in the city. You're going to get paid more. You know what? If my car would have been of right age and stuff, I probably would have tried Uber driving over the summer. I'm not going to lie. You make your own hours too. I probably would have done it for extra cash.
What age?
There's a 2000, and I believe you have to have your car under 8 years old if you're an Uber driver.
So you have to have a 2011.
Yeah. It's either
My car just qualifies.
it's either 8 years or 10 years.
No, it's 2000. It's either 2010 or 2011. I know that for sure. So I looked it up.
There was also Uber Eats, so I don't know if Uber Eats is pulling it. Offered it in my area where I live exactly. Huh.
Mine's 2011. Mine's the
Yeah, but you still have to get an inspection done, on the car.
Oh, my car's fine. New brakes on there.
Car.
Wheels.
There's problems with the car, which I doubt there would be at 3 years old. They're still going to with the car, you know.
Yeah.
And I think they'll help.
I know I have no.
From what I understand too, is they help you out with repairs sometimes or maintenance that you sometimes need as an Uber driver on your car.
Something like that.
I can't remember. I remember I asked an Uber driver one time, but he didn't really give me specifics. So I'm not really sure. But yeah, so that was a little Uber rant there. I'm probably just gonna look for an alternative because I still really don't want to take taxis. I like having the app on my phone and all that stuff and being able to track see where my Uber driver is. So I mean,
drive.
I might just again, you know, if you're out at a bar and I'm
Use a
drunk,
scooter.
I'm not going to. So I'm probably gonna switch over to Lyft. Honestly, I never used Lyft, I think, but I did download it on my phone. I figured I might as well just give it a shot.
It's like the sketchy version, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know how. I know they're not. I think they're a bit more popular in the States. Like I think they're more popular in like California and stuff. But I'm not really sure how popular they are here. I do have a feeling once Uber leaves, pop up a lot more, and so are others, because there is a few other services similar to Uber. I'm not really sure what they're called, but they're not as big. So yeah.
Well, that'll be good. At least they'll have something.
Yeah, I mean, but public transport here isn't as good. It's not reliable. I could say the best. Like, I took the public bus to school for over a year, and there'd be days where that bus was always really fucking packed, no matter what. And I've had times where the bus driver would just skip over me, or he wouldn't show up, or he'd show up like 30 minutes late, causing me to be late to class. Yeah, and it was more common. It was more common than not.
You don't have like your parents couldn't.
No, because my dad would already be at work by the time I was leaving. I would leave the school, go to school. My dad works really early, and then my mom's works in the opposite direction of my school. Like she goes one way down the highway. I go the opposite way down the highway.
Oh, dang.
So it would it wouldn't make it would take her a lot. It would, and it's not like it's a 2-minute drive. It's not like it's like a 2-minute detour for her. It would be about a 30-minute detour.
Longest fall survived.
So it would just be too long. Like I said, with the buses, like it just happened, you know, in the winter too. It's fucking rough because you would be on you know, you get on the bus and everyone has to take their bag off because, you know, everyone has big winter coats on, and
Let me know.
you know, you're trying to hold your bag, you can't because it's in people's way, and then you're trying to keep, and then fuck, you're trying you know,
Okay.
you can't put your bag on the floor because if you do, it's gonna get soaked by all the wet from all the wet boots, and then people get mad at you because you're holding your bag, and it's a fucking shit show.
Dude, fuck public transit.
And then you're like,
Living in
if
big
you
city
have
like
a seat on that bus, you are like you are like the luckiest person. You're like one of the luckiest people in the fucking world at that time. But then like people stare at you like a fucking hawk if you have a seat on the bus. Like they're waiting for you to fucking, the second you move, they're fucking gonna fucking basically push you off your fucking chair as you're getting up and fucking take that seat for themselves. Like, and I'm not joking. It gets fucking bad. So yeah. Oh, and also the metro system doesn't work half the fucking time here. Like, there was a huge problem last year, and it happened to a few of my friends who were going to a college downtown, and they're coming in from the West Island, which is like the suburbs on the island of Montreal. And you know, it was already a long enough, you know, route to get there. You know, taking a bus, taking the subway, all that stuff. It didn't help that the subway broke down one week, like 4 times in 1 week. Like, I know it made,
crap.
yeah, like it was the same line too, where it just randomly shut down, and it was the line that people needed to use to get to school. I've had like my friends, they wouldn't, they would be like, you know, they would miss their classes. They would miss their first class of the day because there was like a 2 to 3 hour delay.
That's ridiculous.
I know.
Shit like that happens though.
I know. Well, even driving, it gets to my school, which is in the West Island. It fucks over people. I know someone who it's about a 20-minute drive from their house to my college, but they're off island. They're just off island. Get over to the island, and I remember one day about 2 years ago in November. It was the first day of snow, but it hadn't been here. I think it's December 15th. You have to have your winter tires on. This is like a month before that. I put my winter tires on usually November, first week of November, because you never know when it's gonna start snowing here. But people here are fucking stupid. They're like, oh, a lot of people push it to the last minute. You know, so they.
Why? Like, why fucking push it? Like, if you know
Yeah.
it's coming.
Yeah, so like
winter is coming,
now
fucking
in the
put it
past
on.
couple of years, it
Like,
has snowed later than earlier. Usually, like I remember as a kid, it used to snow like mid-November. It would start snowing a bit. Start snowing like first week of December, maybe second or third week. So yeah, but I remember it just snowed one day in November, so people were like fucking bonkers. Like for me, what took me like when I was on the highway on the bus at one point, what usually took about 2 minutes on the bus took 20 minutes. So it was about.
Yeah.
Luckily, my bus was like a bit early. It was about 20. I'd usually get to school around 8:12 in the morning if I took the bus, and the class started at 8:30. I got to school at 8:50 that day. I was on the bus for like 50 minutes. Now that's not that bad. My friend who she knew it was, so she left like an hour early that day because she knew it was gonna be bad. She knew there was gonna be traffic. She left around 7:30 in the morning, I think, or 7 or 7:30 in the morning. She got to class at 10:40.
Holy shit. That long?
Yeah, because and I had another friend in that class. On his way to school, he saw 9 different accidents happen in front of him.
Jesus, it's like Armageddon.
I know. So it's not it wasn't, it wasn't like one accident, it caused the whole thing. You saw 9 different accidents. He said he almost crashed like 2 times himself. So, yeah.
People are crazy.
So, getting around Island of Montreal, getting around the Island of Montreal, especially in the West Island, like, you need a car, or, you need transport, because you could walk places. I used to walk to my high school. But
what about like electric bikes, shit like that?
Well, my brother has a scooter. I mean, he got that this summer, but
I'm saying like ones you can use on the sidewalk, like electric, like skateboards, shit like that.
I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. I mean, I used to bike around quite a bit too. I know in the city of Montreal, they offer these things called Bixi, which is like these bikes that you could rent from the city at these like Bixi stations that they have like throughout the city on the streets, and you could rent the bike for like the afternoon.
Nice.
It was to promote, less people driving everywhere, take a bike instead, better for the environment, that type of stuff. I never used one. I've seen a few people using them. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. I kind of like.
Yeah, they have those in the next town over. It's a bigger college town.
It's
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same kind of thing.
So yeah, so transport. There's a lot of alternatives in transport, but it's really shitty when literally every alternative is a shitty one. You can't drive. There's a good chance you get stuck in traffic. The Quebec roads a lot of the Quebec roads aren't really good. A lot of them are really shitty. In the winter,
Well, they don't pump money into your roads.
Well, they do, and they repair them quite often. The problem is because in the winter, due to the harsh climate change, it fucks up the earth moves and stuff. So,
The earth moves.
well, the earth under the pavement moves. It shifts.
It's the way you said it's funny.
It's moving. And then, especially in the spring, when we'll have a few days, where we'll get, if there's a few cracks or something, if there's a crack in the road, and there's a bit of water in it, and then it freezes over, like, say it melts we'll have times where, like, it'll be warm in the day, that's enough to melt, but then it'll freeze overnight again, some stuff. So we'll have that, so, like, water will go into these cracks in the street, and then they'll freeze and expand, making these cracks bigger and bigger. And then we get these huge fucking crack, bumpy roads that are fucking shit quality. Like, on my street, the water pipe, it was common for a water pipe to break. Like, a water pipe would just randomly burst on our street, and the city would have to come fix it. Luckily, they redid it.
What would make it burst?
It would be old. It would be age. Sometimes it would be because of that. It would freeze, and the ice would expand, and it would bust, make the pipe fall out. It would leak everywhere onto the street. Luckily, a few years ago, though, they dug up our entire street and they redid it.
Huh. That's good.
So yeah, that's good. And it was a bitch of a summer though. We couldn't. you couldn't really go anywhere with like our whole street. It was really hard to go anywhere on our street because it was
Oh
being
yeah,
dug
because
up.
they like block it all off because
Yeah.
they're digging it. Yeah.
Luckily, we had like a little back road connected to my backyard, so we just parked our cars there, and then we walked
Yeah,
through the
I've
back
been through that
gate.
before.
But some people who live like, cause like I was at the end of my street, some people didn't have that, so they would have to park like on a completely different street, and then they'd have to walk all the way over to our street. You know, it's the last thing you want to do if you have like fucking groceries or something. You know, especially if you're an older lady or something. So yeah, and then so I mean, I think that's my rant on Uber and transport in general for now.
Uber and transport in general.
We'll see what happens. It could change in the future. Maybe Uber will decide to stay in Quebec. Maybe the Quebec government will decide to stay, or sorry, will decide to change their rule on Uber and won't be as harsh on them or something. So
Protest against Uber.
speaking of protest, the NFL has started protesting again. This was highlighted last year with Kaepernick, the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, taking a knee during the national anthem. And it was a big protesting police brutality. It is again happening across all of the NFL, and President Trump has some words for them. So I would like to point out some other things that happened. First, with President Trump, that happened over the weekend too. Stephen Curry, in an interview with reporters, said he wouldn't be going to the White House with the Golden State Warriors. So then Trump, well, you're hesitating on revoking your invitation, which was kind of weird considering he had already rejected his invitation, saying it wasn't going. So why would you take it back, you know, like. So then, what happened next? So then the Golden State Warriors said they wouldn't be attending the White House either, in protest of Trump, from what it seemed. And the NBA commissioner,
about the NFL.
And the NBA commissioner said, "I'm proud of our players for demonstrating their rights, you know, and that they'll support them." So, you know, even though what they're doing might, you know, they're not, you know, refusing to go to the White House, at least they know they have the commissioner of the NBA on their backs. So the NFL started this weekend taking knee at the during the national anthem, and Trump went on quite the rampage on Twitter. Now, Energy, you said you didn't hear anything about this, right?
I've heard about all this shit. You know what I think about it?
What?
I hope the NFL just fucking implodes on itself, because I don't know. I really care less about the NFL and what happens over there. Like, I think people should have the right to do whatever the fuck they want, and people are making a big deal out of nothing. And then this is all fucking propaganda to send us to war with North Korea, which is gonna happen any day now.
Yeah.
They're trying to stir the pot with the freaking NFL, like where they're like, "Oh, this is disrespecting the military." Like, this is not like them taking a knee has nothing to do with fucking disrespecting the military. Like, people are taking this way too far.
Yeah. Now,
if you haven't watched the newest South Park, people, you know, that's something very good to watch because they represent the satire comedy that's going on in our country right now.
I haven't seen it yet. I want to watch it, so.
We're in a weird state right now, dude. Like, and I feel like some people don't want to admit that shit, but that's the truth.
Now,
I don't know how people can fucking look at Trump and be like, "Oh yeah, he's an intelligent president. Like, he's someone that I want. Like, he's fucking basically first of all, Kim Jong Un said that, you know, we declared war on him, basically, with all the shit Trump has been fucking tweeting and shit like that.
Well, you know, it's like
Get
saying
the
we
fuck
will
off. He's
destroy
trying to
North
run
Korea
the country.
is, you know, I don't agree with North Korea at all.
Destroy them.
I know, but that is,
Destroy them.
I could see how
He's
that is considered
a
words of
president.
war.
He's a fucking president.
Calling
He
him
shouldn't have
Rocket
been saying it
Man.
in the first place.
I would never call an enemy Rocket Man like that. Maybe in private to a friend, but I wouldn't call them that.
That people are saying, and people think that he's a better president than fucking Obama. Those people are literally fucking stupid. Like, I don't know who fucking voted for Trump. I fucking didn't.
I also want to highlight.
Like, I don't
Dead.
think Trump thought he was gonna win. I don't think he thought he was gonna fucking.
No one did. No one thought he was going to win. It was very surprising. There was a lot. They said apparently there was a lot of people who were secret, like closet voters. So they said they were voting for Hillary, but they actually voted for Trump.
This is what happened. People fucking. Nobody thought Trump was gonna fucking win. So, all these people that were gonna vote for Hillary didn't fucking go
Yeah,
vote.
that's true. That is very
You know how
true.
many people didn't fucking vote. They're like, oh yeah, Hillary's got this, and then they didn't go vote, and then look what the fuck happened. Fuck those people, dude. You destroyed our country. It's only been 6 months.
No,
and
it's
he's
been almost a
already
year.
Been,
Oh yeah, 6. Well, it's been 9 months since he's been elected.
technically though, yeah, I was gonna say it's only been like 9 months, but anyway, he's already basically declared war on North Korea.
Now,
He's been a fucking
Yeah.
idiot. He's made a fool of himself on social media, but just about every day. Like I don't know what is happening with our country right now. It's really fucked up, and it's really sad and depressing knowing that I have to be here for another 3.5 years of this shit. If he's still gotta be president for another 3.5 years, that's fucking insane.
yeah.
We'll be dead. We'll be dead by then, dude. North Korea's about to bomb our ass. That's
I
fine.
mean, then you have him,
Kinda
you know,
crazy, but
some. Now, I'm a Canadian, so I'm seeing this out of an X5 perspective, but your views aren't too far off from mine. Now, there is some people who do support Trump in Canada, and, you know, they have their right to.
Tons of people here too. See him every day. Old people that like.
Yeah, and I was talking to someone yesterday who's a Trump supporter, and I said, well, you know, and I was talking to him about the NFL controversy, and he said, well, these people are disrespecting the flag no matter what. I'm like, yeah, but soldiers are even saying, we're fighting for them to have the right to take a knee to stand during the. And it's true. These soldiers, they're fighting for their rights, and yes, they do deserve some respect. Morally, it might not be right to considered. It might not be right to take a knee or sit down during the anthem, but a lot of soldiers, you know, some soldiers say, "Oh, well, why aren't you standing up for us?" Basically, it's standing up for the nation, and yes, it is partly with the soldiers because, you know, America was founded on war. I'd say a lot of it, you know, and
Dude,
ever since your founding, you have been based off a lot of war. So I could see how the soldier would demand a lot of respect there. Hold on, so let me finish. So, but like I said, these soldiers, some soldiers even said, I can't remember who said exactly, but they said, we're fighting for you guys to have the right to take the knee at the anthem. You know, you don't have to stand up if you don't want to. It's considered respectful, but you don't have to It's not like you're going to be arrested for doing that. And I don't agree with NASCAR when NASCAR owners were saying, if you take a knee during the national anthem, you will be fired, like Trump was saying. NFL owners are saying you're not going to be fired.
So dumb.
Yeah, he's saying, oh, you should be fired just like that for taking a knee to the national anthem. It's not that you can't just fire an NFL player like that sometimes.
Believe that. Couldn't believe that when he said that. I was like, really? This is what he's gonna say? Not the fact that right now one of our territories, fucking Peru, is literally fucking.
You mean Puerto Rico?
Begging for help. Or Puerto Rico, I mean, sorry.
Yeah, Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Begging.
Over the weekend.
Is begging for help.
There was like 2 tweets about North Korea. Like, I looked at this. 2 tweets about North Korea over the weekend. 2 tweets about another subject. 0 tweets about Puerto Rico. And 20 tweets about the NFL. in sports. Now,
Propaganda.
from what I
man.
understood,
I'm telling you.
the entire island of Puerto Rico does not have power, or I think some of it has power. But when it got hit by Maria, the entire island lost power. Absolutely devastated the island. And apparently Trump was supposed. He went there yesterday, or he's going there soon.
Obama would have been there on the first day.
Obama was criticized for not going to Louisiana last year after the hurricane because he was on vacation when it happened.
Dude, Obama was the best thing that could have happened to our country. Like, I wish that he could have stayed in there.
I liked Obama because of his morals a lot. Was he the best president in history? Maybe not. I wouldn't say so. You know,
Bro.
one thing a lot of people forget is that Bush.
Unemployment is at where it is right now. Like, people are like, oh yeah, Trump's got unemployment lower than it's ever been. The only reason it's down like it is because of what Obama was doing before Trump came in office. They ran those numbers like 2 months into his freaking presidency, and they were like, "Oh yeah, look at he's got the lowest numbers."
Well, what I like about
because Obama had been working on it.
Well, what I liked about Obama and like his Obamacare, even though it was very controversial at the time, it covered a lot of pre-existing conditions, especially for military veterans.
Sorry about that fucking healthcare.
So like for Trump Care wanted to get rid of these military pre-existing conditions, so these soldiers wouldn't be covered. Saying, "Oh, I'm doing this for our soldiers a lot." But yeah, you're not covering your soldiers. There was this, and what pissed me off too is like, Trump said we're not spending enough on military. We're gonna put more money into the military. You don't need more money into the military. You need more money into your social structures. You need more money into your. There was these programs. He basically money. He took money out of after-school programs, and these programs that would actually feed veterans that were too old or too injured to feed themselves anymore, and would, they'd bring them meals and stuff. He cut those programs. These people now can't, they're not getting these meals that they need, or these kids aren't having these after school programs that they deserve. So it pains me to see that, like they say we're trying to do so much for our veterans, but then when the veterans need them, they turn their backs.
Yeah, but that's not even the biggest issue in the country, dude.
Now this is very basic, and I could be very off for what I just said.
It all leads back to this all leads back to, I'm telling you right now, it's propaganda for the starting of a war. I'm telling you. I know it sounds kind of weird.
Now, I think he did want to come in. I don't know if he wanted to come in picking a war, per se. I don't know if Kim Jong-un would have been as active as this if it was Hillary Clinton in office. We wouldn't know.
He wouldn't have, because we would have had a president that would have fucking thought, that had fucking reason, not some fucking just idiot who literally just blows whatever he fucking.
I think
social media
happened. Now I could be very wrong too. I think that Kim Jong-un saw Trump as a threat from a few words he said, and that's when he started doing the nuclear missiles more, and it just kind of escalated from there. And I don't see. It's the way Trump's approaching the subject too. I believe South Korea wants to do talks. Their president wants to.
It's because they want a war
with North Korea. Trump's like, no, fuck that. And I believe talks. It should be definitely. War is the last resort for me. So I believe they should try doing talks first with the Trump regime too.
This is the thing you gotta realize about the United States, Matt, is that people who run the United States and who have run it for a long ass time are
rich off war.
They use the people as pawns. Money is war, dude. That's like one of the things that people have been talking about right now. Listen,
it's sad. I'm sorry, but it's sad that country is an economic superpower because they based their economy off wars, and
Yes,
that they
that's
had
exactly what's
the
happening right now. Is that
World
we
War
stayed
II
in
got the
power.
U.S. out of the depression. Apparently the economy got boosted in 2000 after they attacked Iraq after 9/11, and
All right, yeah, but listen, man, we stay boosted because we create problems. That's what I mean. I don't like to sound like one of those crazy people, but like 9/11, that like a lot of people don't like to think that that was something that our government did, but when you start to look at the proof, I mean, it makes sense. Like everything that happens is because is for a reason.
yeah,
Like someone's playing a game of chess, basically. Telling you.
it make
That's what's happening right now.
that, and
They're using this NFL thing as a kind of like a thing to like kind of like bump up the support of the military is what's happening right now.
that's true
Support
because,
of the military is going up a lot.
like I said, I
Yeah.
saw someone on Facebook who's in the U.S. Army. I won't say her name or anything for the privacy, but I didn't even know he was actually practicing religion, but he on his profile picture filter on it saying, "I stand for the flag, I kneel for the cross," and that's been a common. That's actually been. I noticed that's been a common saying for a lot of Trump supporters. And a lot of people saying, "Oh, Trump supporters aren't religiously backed up like that." Trump support, in Trump, there's a lot of times where Trump mentioned God, and the problem I have with that. Now, the Johnson Amendment in the United States is the thing basically saying you can't have religious groups endorse the government or political parties because of the influence religion could have on people. And Trump wanted to get rid of the Johnson Amendment, from what I understand, so he could try to have religious groups support him. Which I'm a believer.
Religious
State-
groups are a whole other topic. Folks.
I know. I'm not going to get into it too much.
When I talk about religious
But-
groups, bro.
That's why I believe that's why I think it should be more state and church should be separate.
That's what it's like supposed to be. It's written in our freaking Declaration of Independence. Separation of state and church.
Yeah. I prefer to separate state and church. And in schools too, in Canada for a while, school, it was, you went to Catholic school if you were Catholic, and then you went to a Protestant school if you were Protestant or different religions. And then in Quebec, they changed it to where between French and English. And it's like that too for the whole country. Now you have your religious practice, you have your rights to practice your religion, and if you're a Muslim and you need to pray during the day because you're practicing your religion, a company does need to accommodate that. So if you need a room to go pray in where you're facing, I think it's facing the west, if I'm not mistaken, companies do have to do that, and I believe, yes, they should do that. You have your right to practice your religion, and I don't have a problem if you're practicing your religion. So, but I do have a problem if you're trying to influence me a bit. I'm fine with that. It's when it's very pushy, and that's where politics come in, because politics are very pushy. So if you have religion in that, that's a whole different game. Trump said, I can't remember what it was. This one quote Trump said, and it was something about basically saying the reason there was America is because of God, and there was a lot of times it's saying it's our God-given right to be free in America.
Every politician has said something about God.
Now
Not that big a
again,
deal, dude.
I don't care if you're practicing.
It says in God we. In God
Now,
we trust,
unofficial.
flag.
I know. Actually, it says on your coins. Now, in a private conversation, I don't mind that much. But if you're a country where your state is is different from your church, where state and church are separate. I don't. I think in political statements, rallies, tweets, whatever, it shouldn't be used as freely as it is, which would a lot of people would argue goes against what he wants because of the First Amendment. But I think there's a line that that could be crossed, but it should be respected, because you're not necessarily offending people by it, by saying this is about God and with relation of the state, but it's a bit, I'm not sure where I'm going here actually, but it's just, I don't know, I just don't find it's a good idea. That's, I guess, where I'm going with it.
Everything leads back to the Rothschild family.
Okay, you're just,
the world is just like not really even.
You're just going on some
everything's happening.
conspiracy stuff here, aren't you?
Because like everything's happening, but like everything's happening for a reason. Like we're only doing the things that we're doing because we were influenced by someone else, who's basically controlling the economy. Like,
that's true.
Who do you think is funding these fucking wars?
Although I heard the Rothschild family owns almost every central bank in every country. For like
they own a bank in
four.
every fucking country.
They own, and before 9/11, it was four countries. No, it was four countries that they didn't own. But then after 9/11, when the U.S. invaded Iraq, they bought out the central bank in Iraq and then in Afghanistan, and I think North Korea and like Iran are the only ones left now. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong on this. Don't quote me on this stuff. Yeah.
9/11 was not an accident. Not a coincidence.
You know, and it's the fun. You know, I find it's the funniest thing.
Definitely happened for a reason.
I just find,
And you know, you see what happened after 9/11 too. That's when freaking a completely different U.S. after the 9/11 happened.
That's true. That is true. I'd like to point out too, he influenced movies too. 9/11 influenced movies strongly.
I can't even get on a plane with some fucking lotion to like jack off with, like.
Okay, TMI there, bud. But as I was saying, like, after 9/11, it influenced movies too, and the big example of this here is Spider-Man. Now, The Amazing Spider-Man, for what I understand, was supposed to come out in late 2001 or early 2002, but it got delayed until about a bit over a year after 9/11, because of the terrorist attack. They needed to reshoot some scenes and in editing change some stuff because there were scenes with the Twin Towers in it, and because the Twin Towers were no more, they had to take them out. And there was a couple scenes I know they had to cut or reshoot because of depictions of buildings being hit by large objects and exploding buildings within the city, and I think they changed that out a bit. So so there was this one scene they added at the end of Spider-Man 1 where he's going through the city, ziplining through the city, and he lands on a flagpole, a big American flagpole, and it zooms out of him seeing him on the flagpole with the American flag. And originally supposed to be in the movie. It's only after 9/11 they decided to add this, and it's been in the Spider-Man movies since. That all the Spider-Man movies would have this would have the American flag in it, and they've even joked about it in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 from 2012.
They joked about it.
They made a joke about it because, like, if you watch every single Spider-Man movie, there's a scene where there's a big iconic American flag or beside him. In Spider-Man 2, it's a bit more subtle. They're actually American flags hanging off the building as he's going through the streets, but they're pretty big flags still. So ever since 9/11, Spider-Man was that hero that was associated with the American flag of it, and it gave a lot of American people comfort, especially in a time of crisis a bit, you know, with 9/11. So a lot of people did get that comfort that they wanted. Because, you know, 2002, I would say, it's pretty easy to say, the wounds were really fresh in 2002 of the 9/11 attacks. So, yeah. What time are we at? Well, we're at 56 minutes now. Do you have anything else to say on that?
Yeah, but God, got stale. No, I wasn't really fucking old enough to be around right then, so.
I wasn't either, but I came to the revelation when I saw a video about it, actually. And I was like, oh shit, that's true, you know? It just took someone to point it out to me that I noticed it a lot more. So it was really interesting to see. And it made me rewatch a few of the Spider-Man movies, actually, to see if there was any other times where there was like an iconic American flag besides at the end.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Maybe I just didn't notice them, but I didn't see anything else really. But yeah. That's all I really have left to say. We're already at an hour basically, so.
Right. 1 whole hour.
Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I should have said this at the beginning, but obviously, you know, you don't have to watch the video that's going around. It's playing GTA in the background, it's driving around and shit. So, that stuff really. I mean, it's just more of a podcast of listening to, I guess. I'm gonna see if I can try to upload this to like Spotify or Google Play or something. I wanna see how that's possible. I think it'd be interesting to do that. You know, just so I could spread the platform of a podcast around. So, yeah, I don't know how frequent these podcasts are going to be. I'm hoping once a week at the least. Twice a week if time's willing, you know. Both Energy and I live very different lives.
He's on that grind.
Yeah, he's always on that grind, working full time. I'm at school working on that grind.
Get that cash money.
I'm getting that education in, you know, at school.
Cocaine.
You're not selling cocaine, you fucking pussy.
Do drugs, kids.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Always buy drugs from Mexicans. Never black people. We should end it right there.
Yeah, you kind of just spiraled down into a hole that we weren't supposed to go do.
Edit it and cut it right there.
No, I'm not going to. We just weren't supposed to go there, and you just did. Someone was shooting stuff at me too. Goodbye, motherfucker. Oh shit, he survived that? How's this motherfucker surviving? This dude survived three fucking rockets. Jesus, that's a strong fucking helicopter. Okay, I'll leave on that note, I guess. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, I'm not.
Should have ended it like wave 4.
Yeah.
Don't leave that in the video.
Later. Just bye.
Bad outro.
Bye. Bye.